I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Welcome to the RBC Dominion Securities Western Canadian Showdown. We are very proud to sponsor this event for our community and surrounding area. We wish everyone good curling and best of luck.
Hello and welcome, RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. It is Team Fujisawa and Team Schwaller facing off in our semi-final action. My name is Rory McCusker, live streamer with Curling Stadium. I'm on the cameras, switchboard, and commentary mic tonight. Hopefully that's not too much to handle. I'm here with my partner, David Wells.
Hi there, Rory. David? I think you can manage. I've got great confidence.
That's the exact pep I needed, David.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, we've got a really great game ahead of us here. Amazing to see these two teams. They're obviously, when we get these great events happening and these teams from other countries are looking to find competition at a high level to keep their game sharp, and then here they come into an event like this, and we end up two teams from far, far away. We have a team from Switzerland and a team from Japan playing in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. I just think it's fantastic to see how well they're doing, and that their time and trouble to do these kind of things has paid off. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, these teams are some of the best in the world. They fought through a lot of good competition, a lot of local competition, but here we have two international teams. Semi-final of the Swift Current Bonspiel.
Yeah, Team Fujisawa has represented Japan off and on for quite a long time. But interestingly, I was in Alberta in Lacombe for the Pan Continental this year, and the women's team representing Japan was not Team Fujisawa. It was a younger team, and I wondered to myself if there had been a national championship and they had dethroned Team Fujisawa, or it was a situation where they just simply decided to give another team a chance to represent and gain the experience. I'm really not sure.
No, there's a lot of good teams out of Japan right now. And I think they are interested in giving a lot of these teams experience, but Fujisawa is still the face of the franchise.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
And I just want to say hello and welcome to all of our Japanese and international fans of Fujisawa that tune into the YouTube chat. I love reading your comments. I love getting to know the Japanese curling fans, how passionate they are and how much they love their team Fujisawa. So let us know where you're watching from. If it's from Japan, or if it's where in Japan you're watching from, or all over the world.
No, it's great. It's great to see people watching from all over the world, and we know that we have lots and lots of fans for Team Fujisawa, and I hope we'll be able to figure out where everybody is watching from. It's tomorrow morning in Japan, but I guess people have time to watch, which is great.
is getting started fairly exciting here. So Team Schwaller with hammers going to play to the wing, totally ignoring the Fujisawa stones in the middle. I thought we might see more of a hit and roll from Schwaller there, but choosing to leave that low center guard in play.
Oftentimes the teams I'm finding are taking a little bit of risk in the first end. Certain if they can manage a couple of really nice shots in positional situations, they can put a lot of pressure on their opponent. And as teams are just still kind of getting used to the ice, it can sometimes pay off. So this may be an example of that little strategic move here.
I have long detested the open first end, the guaranteed blank in the first end, and I've been thrilled this week in both the men's and women's game. With the full team practice, 8 rocks up and 8 rocks down, teams have the confidence to mix it up right away and get things rolling in the first end. So I've seen a lot of really exciting first ends.
Yeah, and with this being an 8-end event, whenever you start playing 8-end games, it seems as if they kind of realize we kind of got to get moving here. And in the 10-end game, they can kind of afford to maybe take an end or even 2, where they just sort of throw rocks up and down and get a feel for everything. And well, with only 8 ends in the game, you kind of got to get moving if you're gonna establish something, work quickly, and so that seems to be the trend. Well, we had an attempt at a double peel, and it worked out beautifully. So those 2 guards are now both gone.
Yeah, really unfortunate positioning for Team Fujisawa. To put those so close to each other and lose them both kind of kills the dream of building something down the middle. They're going to keep fighting for it, though, with shot rock in the back 12. That's going to be enough for Team Fujisawa to keep throwing something up front.
Yep.
And, very little risk to this, Dave, because those 2 red stones, smaller stones, are not in the rings.
That's true. And if you can lie too in a position where the double is hard to make, just tuck one partially under the long yellow guard, for example, you can put yourself in a nice spot. The other team has to work hard just to make sure that they score one. So, not a bad situation.
Shinami Yoshida, matching big, thick, puffy jacket that I always love seeing Fujisawa wear out there. Shinami and Fuji have been chatting a lot about Shinami's shots. The last 4 rocks they had, there's been a lot of discussion. It's one of the advantages you have when you're not in a timed event.
That's right. Well, I don't know that the broom was that wide. It seemed as if she maybe flared that shot a little bit. It really didn't finish much, but it is providing guard for the shot rock in the back of the house.
We are on sheet 6 right now. It is an end sheet, and when I was playing in Swift Current last weekend at a men's Sask Tour event, that sheet did have kind of fell to the wall a little bit, as you'll see a lot of end sheets do at curling rinks. So the broom's pretty tight on that outturn side right now. Any little poke out, it's going to be tough for that rock to work its way back. You can even see this one floating pretty hard. Really good result, though.
Yeah. And Satsuki managed to just get that far enough out of the way that her yellow rock remains the shot rock. So. Knowing that Xenia has the hammer, I think Team Fujisawa is just looking to make sure they keep the challenge level and make it so that there's no possible way to remove both yellow rocks. We're now drawing in underneath the yellow guard, and I think things look pretty comfortable. Lots of room.
I'm just checking in on the chat with our fans. The chat's already filled with almost 100 messages. Thanks so much for participating in this live stream, guys. And I did get the note that the on ice volume was a little loud. Thanks for letting us know. We do appreciate when you point out our mistakes. That way we can fix them quick. So thanks for that comment. And yeah, it looks like we got the audio balance a little better.
Well, our voices are so wonderful that, people should be listening to us and not really even needing anything else. So, dear. All righty.
Yeah, it would be really nice to get some microphones on the players for every game, but I can tell you guys from experience, they do not want to wear them. They will do anything to keep from putting those freaking things on. The only way to mic players up is to have a person at the entrance of the ice who more or less like secures the microphone on the player. And even then, a lot of players still won't wear them. So I know it's nice, and we would love them to wear mics, but it's not always possible, and it is quite a bit of a headache.
It's an interesting thing to be able to listen to them. The Japanese girls are I've obviously had a chance to see and listen to them numerous times, as they've been around for quite a while. They're very vocal. They tend to use a lot of numbers. My Japanese from when I was living there is good enough to know a little bit about what they're talking about, and half the time they're just simply yelling out numbers using the old Furby number system, where they number the position that they think the rock's going to end up. So there's a constant level of chatter. They really are constantly talking, whereas a lot of the other teams, they do talk, but they're not quite as consistent with it. So.
Absolutely. It's exemplary communication. You see that on all Japanese curling teams, I find. It's part of the Japanese curling culture is just, constantly communicating about what they're observing, giving that information to the line thrower, the line caller, the thrower, just constant back and forth information exchange. And that's really exemplary. That's what every curling coach in the world right now would be teaching their young athletes. So it's a prime example of good communication. Team Fujisawa.
Yeah. So yellow rocks, Team Fujisawa lying 2 right now, but both rocks are extremely exposed. The only good news, I suppose, is that I don't think there's a double. So we need to have a bit of a hit and roll and try and hide a little bit. If they can be shot rock, the red Team Schwaller rocks, they could end up making life difficult and potentially scoring 2. But right now, the first thing they have to do is get rid of one of the yellows and sit shot. So first rock for skip Xenia Schwaller.
Would really like a roll, but what you can't do is roll all the way out. She will stick around for shot.
Wow. That's actually a pretty good result. I was thinking the way it hit, it was going to roll far enough that they were going to have a problem now. Team Fujisawa, I'm looking at the gap between the 2 red guards. I guess you'll call those guards, the 2 red strays in front of the house. But I don't think they can get through there. Or if they try, it's a little bit of a risky shot. So
it is
they're
for
going to
sure.
just draw.
If this yellow remains exposed, that will be a hit for 3. So a fairly tame looking scenario, but a huge risk if she doesn't hit the rings here.
I think the call is simply to draw down, get under the guard.
Be careful here, because we saw those rocks kind of floating, not curling with the outturn side. I would expect a lot of movement here towards the wall as this rock gets further and further from the center line.
You're right. Yeah, there's something to watch. Always fun playing on an end sheet. You're never quite sure.
Satsuki Fujisawa, her last rock in a very eventful first end. It's an important one. Could be the difference between a force and a multi-point score.
Okay,
Looks like the line is behaving for them.
In terms of line, they seem confident. Now we got to get by this guard.
Starting to really curl now.
Wow.
Big sweep to lock this on the nose. Great brushing from the front end.
And now lying 2.
Eureka Yoshida.
Very, very nice. And then it leaves Team Schwaller with no choice but to just throw a draw. The good news for Team Schwaller is they have basically just to simply throw anything into the 8-foot. They'll be fine. But they're limited to 1 point. So Team Fujisawa has really achieved the goal of forcing the opposition and then taking over the hammer.
Yeah, they'll take the familiar path. This is the draw path that they were throwing earlier in the end. Also the draw path that Satsuki just threw down. So Super should have a good idea of how this is going to move.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to tell coaches is do what the other team just did. We know the line because we just saw it. So as long as her weight's correct, we should be fine. Loads of room by the guard here. And into the 8-foot for a single
guides
point.
it in. That's a well-played first end from both teams. Made some mistakes early, but caught on to the ice conditions. And after all that action, we have 1 point for Team Schwaller after the first.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you
And now we have another note saying, please increase stadium sound, player's voice.
Yeah, I know we want to hear the players. I'll turn it up a little bit, but all we're really going to hear there is sweep calls and screams, which are still fun. So that's what we'll do. Welcome back. Second end action. We've got 3 rocks down the sheet.
And we've had
I'll have to update the score. That's coming right away, I promise.
Okay. Yeah. We've got a little note from one of our observers, very kindly pointing out that the women's championship, or the current champions, the women's champion is not Team Fujisawa right now. It's Team Ueno, which is when I made reference to the fact that the Japanese representative at the Pan-Continental was not Team Fujisawa, and that explains it. So we have a current champion. I guess I don't know when that was played. Maybe somebody will fill me in on that one too, but that explains why when I was at the Pan-Continental it wasn't Team Fujisawa. But Team Fujisawa, I suppose, is also obviously staying sharp and keeping their competition level up. So that's great to see.
Two rocks in the corner, a corner guard for Fuji, and one right down the middle for Team Schwaller. They're going to choose to guard this rock. Guard doesn't quite get there.
Yeah,
Still going to be useful later in the end, but that'll give Fujisawa the first opportunity to make a move.
Yeah, and it looks as if she's trying to play a hit and roll. She's dying to use that corner guard to get over and hide in the wings, and so you have the choice of just drawing or hitting and rolling. It looks like we're playing the hit. They're still getting fooled a little bit by the amount of curl, so we have to keep an eye on this as the game goes on. My guess is
that was that wall side again, David, the outside in, and they thought it would curl more. So the whole sheet's got a bit of a slant towards the wall, and it seems like Team Schwaller hasn't quite figured that out.
Very nice hit and roll here. Apparently, Xenia has confidence that they can get over and sort of freeze to it or bump it. It is about half exposed.
Big sweep. What a technique. I've noticed a few Swiss players, Carol Howald has kind of switched to this sort of bunny hopping technique. You see different players do it a little different ways, but that seems to be a Swiss curling program type thing.
Yeah, some of the European teams, when we've moved into the two gripper style of sweeping, it's changed the amount of traction that the curlers have on the ice. And then the next move was, in order to get more weight on the broom head, they're rolling up onto their toes, which is a great technique. I mean, it definitely does increase the weight. And then they realized how to increase it even more is if I get my feet off the ice. So yeah, the hop. But it can only happen when the rock is moving relatively slowly. It's pretty hard to hop when you're moving quickly down the ice. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, but it's still an amazing thing to see. I mean, to see people hopping where they're literally 2 feet are off the ice is pretty incredible. And we have to be careful too with.
David.
Sorry.
And they hardly ever fall.
No, yeah, that's it. And you have to be careful when you're talking to new curlers about technique about sweeping. I said, well, I want to hop like those guys. No, I don't think so. Let's get you started with the basic foot shuffle, and we'll build from there. So
I think the other factor is is just how much Team Retorn has changed the way people think about sweeping. Watching those big guys and their long, strong brush strokes, kind of prioritizing frequency a little less and more of just a big, strong, angular scooping motion. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah,
especially directional sweeping.
Yeah, they're working on. I think they're very conscious of the weight and position of their brooms as they're right in that zone, which is the part of the rock that's on the ice, the running surface. So I think they've been trying to optimize the pressure they have in exactly the sweet spot. But you're right, it's interesting to see how we're seeing, I guess you could say, a few different kinds of techniques to try and get it just right. I don't know that we're going to find anything immediately. I think we're still going to see things changing and teams trying different possibilities, different ideas as we go along.
Really nice draw there. Selena Gaffner, third rock thrower for Team Schwaller. That's their best draw they've made so far. Struggled a bit with the draws in the opening, but really nailed that one. That's a stone good enough that it's worth protecting all the way to the end of this second end. It looks like that will be the tactic.
Well, there was an attempt there at a run back, which didn't quite curl enough, but at least they got the guard out of the way. So it's forcing Team Schwaller to protect, basically, which is great. I mean, when you're trying to steal, if you can keep the center occupied and keep the opponent from building up rocks on the sides, then you're succeeding. So this is not curling as much as I think they would like.
Just barely getting a good finish on that. I think they just barely got there. Leaving a tiny bit exposed, but again, that wall side, you have to be very careful. Not curling as much. I will say it is more pronounced going away than coming home, that fall to the wall type thing.
Yeah. But it did take its time deciding to finally finish, and as it turns out, it is a pretty nice guard. So we're back to the idea of trying a run back. And if that fails, then at least making sure we get rid of the guard and rolling away. So this is going to end up being just a peel with the bump on the high corner guard. But I suppose we'll see a repeat over and over again of these two shots until one player decides to leave enough of an option for the opponent to try something new.
skip stones here in the second end. Been a bit of a stalemate since the opening corner guard and center line shot. The hit and roll was successfully made, choosing to ignore the center guard by Fujisawa on the second's first stone. And in response, they guarded, and that's how we've gotten to this point. It's just peel and replace, peel and replace. Xenia Schwaller will attempt one more time to replace that guard. You got to think this time, Dave, if they leave anything open, Fujisawa will go for the one in the rings and attempt to lie two.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. I mean, Team Fujisawa would love to be able to use this centerline guard, but they have to be able to access the rock in the rings. Boy, I'm not sure I can tell you that's an opportunity. I think it's more of a chance for a straight double.
Yeah. For sure. Just came deep on that. You definitely don't want to be fully in the rings. If she was biting the rings, that'd be sort of okay. But now that you're fully in, Fujisawa can make this double and lie two at the end of it.
Yeah, she can. If she can just nose, or just a little bit off nose, and then her shooter can, yes, as you say, be in the rings, and they're sitting two. Yeah.
Satsuki Fujisawa, her biggest opportunity of the game. A double takeout to lie two. Got to curl up just a little bit. She's really close, Dave.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Both teams are throwing these shots that don't look as if they're going to finish, and then just at the end, over they come. So what a lovely shot. And now, as you say, the Fujisawa rink, the Yellowstones are lying two, and I'm not even sure there's any chance of a double. I suppose it's possible, but this is a really tough double for Team Schwaller.
Yeah, about a thin half of the stone. I think it's the double's definitely there. A little hard to line up. These are always quite tough to call from the house. Like the line call is very difficult on these ones. In fact, let's take it from the split angle. We can watch the line come down.
Yep.
See if they can manage this.
Tricky shot, because if she makes it, great. But if she doesn't, and she leaves Team Fujisawa the option to lie two, bing bong. Wow, what a lovely shot. So there they go. The two yellow rocks are out, and now we just have to try and draw to hide something.
Double is made either way, both skips trading impressive shots. Xenia Schwaller bailing her team out of some trouble.
We're on the final rock of the end, I believe, with Fujisawa with the hammer, which means she's just going to blank the end, throwing this firmly through the house. Chance to watch some lines as they approach the edge, the carpet side of the sheet, and away they go.
There it is. It's a blank end in the second. Some impressive shot making from either team, either skip. That's going to take us into the third. Fuji will retain hammer.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again? Yeah, that would be AztecSafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Welcome back to the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Once again, my name is Rory McCusker, live streamer with Curling Stadium. I'm joined by David Wills. We've had a really interesting first end, and then kind of getting back to basics on that last one, Dave.
I agree with you totally. I mean, we had the center line guards and the corner guards and a few things hidden here and there, and then a couple good doubles made by the skips, and ended up with a blank. So much more of a textbook end than the first, but really nice to see the quality of the shot making going on. So let's just see if we can generate something a little better. Now we've gone away from the corner guard model, and we're now in the playing around the center. So each team kind of daring the other to try and build up some strength down the center. So
really nice pair from Selena Reischiger.
Yeah,
for sure. And draw around right in line.
Yeah, those are really nice shots, and the Fujisawa rock in the top 12 is got all kinds of potential. It's not perfect, but it's in a position where you never know what kind of things could happen as the end wears on. So it's really nice. And this is an attempt to draw around and come right up, almost in a freeze situation, to the rock in the on the button. And they seem quite happy with the line, and the weight is maybe a tad heavy. Yeah. It's almost like playing mixed doubles here. We're drawing around a center guard.
Yeah, no corner guard so far in the third end for Team Fujisawa. It's definitely an interesting move. I think that indicates to me that the center guard will be peeled eventually, but you never know with Team Fujisawa. She's very creative skip, very good with rocks in play. Jennifer Jones made an awesome point in the last Sportsnet event that the Japanese teams really, they solve their issues with drawing. When they're in trouble, when they know they need to control things, they think a good draw is going to get them out of trouble. Whereas a Canadian team might traditionally think hitting is going to keep you out of trouble. But never afraid to lob one in the forefoot as Team Fujisawa to solve their problems.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll peel or not. That's my suspicion.
No, but you're absolutely right. You can ask two questions as you're thinking. You can either say, what can we get rid of to make things better? Or you can say, where can we put one that will make things better? And it really depends on the circumstances. You're right. The thing you love to see is when a skip is not afraid of rocks in play. There are people who like to play chess where they try to eliminate all the pieces on the board and keep it simple. And then there's others who say, no, let's junk it up and see what we can do. So I think this is terrific. Now we're trying to hit, maybe even make a double and keep our shooter in play. And if we can do that, we'll be line 3. So that's got great potential here. 1, 2.
1 and 2. What a beautiful shot around the guard.
Lovely, except that we didn't hang on to the shooter, but that's fine. So we are line 2, and now we're going to be playing hit and roll under the guard.
Yumi Suzuki, she for a smaller girl, she can really speed out of the hack.
Yeah,
it's incredible to watch. Big leg drive. That rock looks like a beach ball in her hands, but she can really throw it hard and accurate, as we just saw.
And responding with a simple hit. I love the control weight, but unfortunately didn't quite finish well enough to flip in behind cover. And so Team Fujisawa now electing to do the same thing, but hoping to roll away from center rather than towards center.
Want to give a shout out to some of these names that I always see pop up. The account Jiro. Yuko-san is amazing, says Jiro. Lots of these names I'm starting to get to know. Northern Traveler, Kira Sakai. Thank you for these accounts. The chat is absolutely popping off right now, and I love to see it.
So many of them. I was saying, if you look at your, I don't know if you can read the kana, but you see one comment that comes up many times over. It's the three phonetic symbols na, I, su, and they say nice from the English word nice. So you'll hear them say that a lot, even on the ice. The girls, when they're playing, you hear them say nice.
That's a great insight. I was always wondering where that came from, and that's awesome, Dave. Yeah.
The kana, the alphabets, the hiragana and the katakana alphabets in Japanese are just simply phonetic. So the symbols make a sound. So if you know them, you can actually figure out what the sounds are, and you can see what the word is. So that's just an English word, but it's made phonetic using the Japanese symbols. So yeah.
Well, David, if you want to become famous in Japan curling communities, all you have to do is pander to the Japanese audience right now, and they will love you forever.
Yeah. Well, I was there living and working for a year, and I worked really hard on the language. And it's been a long time since I used it with any regularity, but I still love when I see and hear the various bits and pieces of the language, especially associated with a sport that I love, of course. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Alrighty, we're going to try and put one under cover, lying to, and looking
Kitmami
to
wants more ice.
Yeah,
or less ice.
Trying to guarantee at least 2 points. A lot of people would look at this situation and say, why don't they guard those two that are sitting in the house? Well, it's hard to guard them both. And if they put another one over to the side, they can kind of guarantee themselves a chance to get 2. A little bit of strategy.
Yeah, and not a lot of danger on the sheet right now. There's no center guard that Fuji's going to have to deal with, so really comfortable scenario.
Although this is heavy, and unfortunately has gone right through the house, so that's too bad.
That is a very classic thing that happens in a curling end, especially early mid-game like this, David, like the second, third, fourth end. When you finally start to go to the wing, it ends up being a really quick path, you know? I think it's got something to do with the draw path being well established, and maybe there's been a few hits down the center line. It just seems to be some really quick ice going out to the wing.
Well, here we have an attempt at a double and stick around in the house, but we're going to sadly not quite curl enough, and we've left Team Fujisawa with a rock at the top of the forefoot, and she has another chance to have a draw around the guard on the corner. And this is her vice throwing, right? This is Chinami. So we'll see if she can find the right weight.
I love some of the translations on the chat. Like if you click on the chat and right click and go translate to English, Google will attempt to translate these comments, and some of them translate really funny. I just saw a comment. The ice cream looks difficult.
Yes, the ice cream does look difficult. Uh-oh. And now is this heavy again? Goodness. So apparently,
with that, and you know, the usually bubbly Chinami Yoshida, I know that's not good enough for her. She's going to be upset with herself. 2 really fairly easy draws, David, and to miss the first one, you know, a bit disappointing. To miss the second one, it's just a bad adjustment by the thrower. She missed the same way as well.
Yeah. So apparently they're getting a little bit, as you say, the ice cream looks a bit tricky. They're having trouble adjusting, which I'm sure will change before long. So now Team Schwaller can just keep things simple by hitting and sticking around in the house somewhere to make life challenging, but unfortunately, we may be headed for another blank end. We'll see how that works. Hit and stick. Okay. Very straightforward for Xenia.
Not a lot of friends out here on the ice as far as Fujisawa is concerned. Not a lot of places to roll to or rocks to roll on top of. So bit of a burnout this end with those 2 missed draws from Kitmami.
Yeah, and Team Schwaller made sure to, if they're going to roll at all, they rolled away from the guard so that there's no chance of playing a sort of a long hit and rolled and sitting underneath something. I guess it's still possible. However, it's not easy. And first of 2 for the Japanese skip.
Yeah, good chance to really dial in. Both of these teams are capable of really, really high performance. So the first one to really find it here is going to be the one who jumps ahead in this game. And there we go again, David, the wall side kind of sucking another rock outwards.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So now we're going to just try and at least hide one partially behind this very, very wide corner guard. And if they can do it and make life difficult for their opponent, so much the better. The tricky thing is we'll see if Team Schwaller has a feeling about the weight, because we just saw two Japanese rocks go much, much farther than everybody expected. So we'll see how things go with if the observing team has learned from that. That'll be the number one
observation. Yeah. And Dave, it's the game within the game in these open ends. Hey, like it's just about, like, a blank end isn't just boring. It is sometimes for the fans and us, but the teams are constantly focused on something, whether it's line or weight or what the paths are doing, and maybe even what their opponent might be struggling with. There's always a game within a game within a game, constant layers of gamesmanship.
Yeah,
out there.
Well, nice clean release, and brushers seem happy with the weight.
Kind of a free crack at understanding a path in the ice that isn't going to be as common, this really wide draw. So gaining an understanding of what this is doing, right down the path that Kitmami was kind of heavy down. I guess this was a little further outside than that, but makes the blank attempt as difficult as possible. I think she did a fine job of that.
Yep, so top priority will be to get rid of the red, and fortunately it's completely exposed. It didn't manage to get it to curl underneath, but and the weight was beautiful. And we'll see how whether we can hit and roll out.
It would be quite advantageous to keep that hammer into the fourth end. Wouldn't want to get forced here. So a pretty significant blank shot from Satsuki Fujisawa. She's been hitting a lot.
Yeah, she hasn't really thrown all that many finesse shots. Keep hitting throw-throughs, and are we going to curl enough to get this? Yep, there we go.
It's absolutely perfectly executed.
Perfect.
They will hang on to the hammer. Expect a big end in the fourth as Fujisawa tries to convert.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life, when I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know Sasktel, because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With Sasktel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. all you need to do is apply. Sasktel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Week.
Very good. Here we are, fourth end. It's only a score of 1-0, but the ends haven't been boring so far. There's been some rocks in play, just a few mistakes here and there, especially on draws for Team Fujisawa, prevented them from scoring a big one. And here we are, game on, center guard and a rock in the rings. We're going to take this opportunity really quickly to show you the whole rink here. Lots of people have been coming out to sit out on the ice. I always love sitting out on the ice. It feels like you're right on the same level with the curlers. Might get a little chilly, though.
Yeah. Oh, this is the second rock of the end for this Swiss team. The lead is Selina Reischiger, and the team is fairly young. When we get to the skip, I'll mention the familiarity of that last name. But one of the things we're seeing is a lot of teams in Europe with some amazing young talent that is developing rapidly and becoming very, very competitive at a high level. Over here we have the second rock for Team Fujisawa. The lead is Yurika Yoshida, and she's been a part of this team for a while. This team is a very familiar group. They all are quite united, and the chemistry of the team, if you ever watch them play, is really quite strong.
United is a good word for it. And I was thinking back, David, I should have Googled this before the game. Maybe someone can help me out. The Canadian curling world first got familiar with Team Fujisawa right here in Swift Current. There was a World Women's Championship where they were, I think it was the semifinal, or was it the final against Chelsea Carey of Canada? But just the bubbly, bright, positive smiles and hugs of Team Japan really took the audience, and by the end of that game, the Canadian home crowd couldn't decide who they were cheering for, if it was Fujisawa or their home team, Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And they've always made a positive impression. Their spirit, their sportsmanship is just exemplary. It always has been. And I love to see how focused they are when they play. But they'll always smile, and they'll always tell you when you make a nice shot. You know, it's one of those things you love to see. So Team Schwaller is now up with a chance to try and get a rock underneath these center guards. We have quite a string of rocks now building up in the center, trying to decide whether they want to hit and roll under or just draw. And it appears that Xenia has decided to go with the hit. There's obviously a little more challenge involved in making sure they hit properly, but the good news is that means they get rid of one of their opponent's rocks. So the intern from second, Fabienne Rieder. And all about line and making sure they hit it with the right angle.
This inside-out hitting shot has become so much more popular since the 5-rock rule. It's often all you're left with as you're trying to defend against the team with hammer. This time there is no guard in the way, so a little easier, but wasn't able to make it.
Well, the rock just didn't finish as much as they'd hoped it would, so she did get rid of the Fujisawa stone. However, she rolled quite a bit farther than expected. So now Satsuki is now a situation where she can draw either side and lie 2, which is a really great thing for her to be able to do, and that way she can make things very difficult. One rock is nicely undercover, and it is shot. So she's in a great spot right now to take advantage. And this is an out turn, so it would appear that she's trying to come back and maybe even freeze to the red rock in the back of the 8-foot. This is Japanese second Yumi Suzuki, another name that people are quite familiar with after an incredible number of years of play. And yet again, fooled by the curl. And it drifts just a little bit too far into the back of the house.
Well, I was wondering there, David, were they trying to play enough weight to remove that stone, or was that just a pure freeze? If it was
I think it was just a draw. I don't think they were trying to remove it.
Well,
Certainly,
then I think that the line would have been okay. Like the broom was in the right spot. It just must have been heavy.
Heavy, yeah. All right, so now this gives Team Schwaller a chance to throw it underneath.
And as we learn, this Schwaller team, who's been, achieving a lot over the last few years, what can you tell us about the second rock thrower?
Well, I haven't seen Fabienne play that much. She is a part of a very, very young team, and they're out of Switzerland, out of Zurich, where there's a fairly vibrant curling community. And I think what's happened is over time they've managed to put together a team of people who A, know each other, and B, are curling at a high level with ambitions to do great things. And she's been one of those people that's done that. One of the strengths she holds is her sweeping. She's a very strong sweeper, physically strong person, an athlete, so it's made a big difference in terms of the dimension of some of their shots.
Oh, excellent insight. We see sometimes countries will put a few curling teams together, train them very hard, but there isn't really a grassroots club level. Switzerland is not one of those countries. There are clubs across the country in Switzerland, club players, semi-competitive players. It's a strong curling culture.
Yeah, absolutely. When you, I don't know if you've been over or you've seen any of the club play, but they're very proud, and they tend to be associated with different clubs or different organizations. Sometimes you even have more than one club curling in a given facility. Some of the European communities, you could go into one facility and there could be 3 clubs who all play in the same place, and you kind of say, well, how do you decide who to cheer for, or who's the home club, or because for us a club is a building, so if you're in the building, you're in the same club as everybody else who's in the building. But a lot of times they come from little different areas, so they drive in from a community half an hour east or half an hour west, so they're that group, and they stick together.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that, and it's a concept that Canadian curlers are likely unfamiliar with. Like you said, you walk into the building, you're in the club.
Absolutely. No, and sometimes, I mean, I have experience overseas working with some of these different countries and some of these clubs, and it's baffling sometimes, because you could say, well, I'd like to make a team with these 4 players, and they'd say, well, you can't do that because 3 of them are from one club and 1 of them is from another. And I say, well, they're all from the same country, right? And they say yes, but they don't curl on the same team. It's not possible. And I say, okay, so it can be a little tricky sometimes. But I love to see a team come together where they're united, and their level of play and their level of ambition is so
Oh
high.
my goodness! I'm sorry to interrupt you, David. That was incredible.
Yep.
They got that rock exactly perfect. It's the only way they could have made that happen.
Well, I don't know if this was exactly the plan or whether this is just a really well managed plan B.
Satsuki immediately went over to that stone to sweep it. She knew that was part of the bonus of that shot.
Yeah, as we saw on the replay, clearly they were trying to make the double, and they did. But it was a little skinny, but it did get the job done. So
just without jamming on their back one, that's incredible. So the team with hammer, it's a really good bonus.
So Team Schwaller, we're now down to Vice Rocks, and that's Selina Gaffner. And she's trying to hit and roll. We need to get rid of one of the yellow rocks, and she can roll under cover. It'll help a lot to basically make it hard for Team Fujisawa to score 2.
That's a fine result. They're dead even. There is no double available.
And now we have that pause where we're looking at the house and asking down the ice how people feel. Hit and roll away.
Yeah, it's the decision is, do we abandon our rock in the back 12 and kind of lose our ideas of counting that one? Or do we attempt to keep removing reds, hoping there might be a double or some kind of rollout on the next one? An option definitely could be just pure drawing around the corner, starting from scratch, try to create something from just these 3 stones.
Yeah, they can't remove the rock that's in the back of the forefoot and roll under the guard unless they risk losing or knocking the red rock right back and jamming it on the yellow. And then there's, I mean, it still could work out beautifully, but it really has to be perfect. So they're, as you say, no, I'm sorry. I was going to say they're drawing. I think they're hitting and trying to roll under cover.
It is the shot stone in terms of kind of defending the hammer and defending their risk. Wow, about as good as they could have done.
Yeah.
Remove the red stone, rolls a little bit under cover, and leaves no double. That's the most important part.
And now they have shot rock, as you say, but they also have 2 rocks in the house. They're not both counting yet, but that leaves options. And I don't know, are we down to skip rocks? Not
We
quite.
are. Sorry, I had the rocks wrong on the clicker there.
Okay.
But we
So
are
yes,
correct
this
now.
is Xenia's first
It
rock.
is.
And she's still playing a little bit of defense because Team Fujisawa has hammer. But what I was going to mention is that this is another another situation in Europe where you see a member of a very, very well-known curling family. Xenia is a young member of the Schwaller family, and anybody who's been following curling for a while will recognize the name Schwaller. And of course, there's right now in the men's world, in the Swiss men's curling world, Yannick Schwaller and his team playing incredibly well. And we're seeing this a little bit over time. For example, if you think of the Swiss curlers, or excuse me, the Swedish curlers, we have Isabella Rano, and she's the little sister of Rasmus, who plays with Nicodine, and she's now raised her game up, and that team is starting to challenge at the national level. Team Hasselborg is obviously very strong still, but these young, really, really sharp teams are developing and coming up and making a name for themselves. And the future looks incredibly bright when you see things like this. So it's exciting to see Xenia coming over to Canada and playing an event like this. Here is first of 2 from skip Satsuki Fujisawa. The ideal.
Really well put about the curling families. The elite bloodlines of curling.
Well, it's oftentimes you'll see, somebody can say, I curled with your dad in 1983 or something. There's all kinds of family names that are very, very well known. Well, skip Satsuki Fujisawa rolled out just a little too far, leaving her back rock exposed. And sadly, this may mean that she'll have very little choice but to accept a forced 1 point if Team Schwaller can make a nice shot here and lie 2. They're talking amongst themselves about how deep they want to take this rock into the house. Has to be deep enough that there's no double. Sort of right along the same line, essentially, as the other red rock, touching the T line probably. Should be awesome.
Got to think that I'd give the edge to Team Schwaller over these last few ends. outplaying ever so slightly Team Fujisawa, but just sometimes in curling, you can outplay your opponent just with not much reward. And really, a 4-1 is the only reward they're going to get for this, tying the game up after 4 ends.
Yep. Well, this will be key to make sure that it's the right depth, so it's in the hands of the sweepers.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought they might split the rings a little more aggressively. I thought they might kind of throw it on the opposite wing, but choosing to come down the middle.
Wow.
And they will not be punished for this decision as it stops up just in time.
Yeah, as you say, yeah, absolutely. So now just a simple draw to the full 8 foot. And I guess technically you could argue that they have backing if they need it.
Yeah, on the red one will easily score a single point. Taking an ever so slightly different line, though. They're not following the Schwaller line. This looks like less ice for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason to get too close to the yellow guard because it's not going to have any big effect. So they just want to draw away from it. Oh, no, they did take a little more ice.
Widening the ice. It was Kitmami did signal down. If we hit this line, there is no backing. So they're going to put the broom in a place where there is backing. Satsuki Fujisawa score their first point of the match. Been a bit of a struggle with draw weight for a lot of players on the ice. Let's see if Team Fujisawa can nail it down here with her last in the 4th.
Looks like they are going to need the backing. No?
Sails a little deep, but it will be good enough for 1 point. Fuji will tie things up after 4 ends.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like 1 more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Welcome back to Swift Current Saskatchewan. It's RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Team Fujisawa, Team Schwaller, semi-final action. 6:50 p.m. local time. You can see Caitlin Schneider in the background there working something out. Got a full slate out there. Got men's B qualifiers on the ice as well, or perhaps C games. I'll have to double check the draw. But full house here in Swift Current. There's been lots of fans in the stands as well. Been really nice to see.
Yeah, this is a semi-final game for the women, and the other semi-final is going right now as well. And then the two winners are actually playing this evening. They still have another game if they win, and then that event, the women's event, is ending tonight. So the men are still going strong because they don't start their playoffs until tomorrow morning.
Other game on the ice. Michelle Englot out of Regina, Saskatchewan, leading USA's Delaney Strauss 3-1 in the fifth end.
It's nice to see Michelle Englot's team doing well. They've been battling hard, and Michelle's a curler that we've been seeing for many years, and so she's a real veteran presence out on the ice. Nice to see them doing well.
Absolutely, I'm quite close with that team. They curl out of the same clubs as me in Regina. Grew up with Sarah, the daughter of Sandra Schmirler, making her way onto the women's competitive circuit after a pretty successful junior and university curling years.
That's great.
So, yeah, and a super kind of underrated player, Ashley Williamson at second. Really big A-Dub fan, so love to see them doing well.
Yeah. Alrighty. Team Fujisawa now, having given up the hammer finally after a couple of blanked ends, they were forced to one. So we have a 1-1 game. Oh, sorry. Yes, it is 1-1. Yes. Taking the offensive here and drawing down right on top of the button. They may not even be shot rock at the end of this, but they're looking at creating a little bit of offense when they don't have the hammer. Nice shot.
Yeah, just wanted to address the scoreboard. There is a bit of a glitch where it keeps flipping to the men's draw. Sorry about that. So if you see the scoreboard and it's the wrong names, it's just a funny little glitch happening with our software.
Yeah, I was looking at the score on the screen to my right, and it said 2-0. I said, no, that can't be right. And then I realized that was a different game. So I am correct. It is 1-1. And now run back. I was going to say run back double.
Really unlucky jam. Not only does that jam into their red stone in the 12-foot, but it cascades over to the 4-foot. It's as if Fujisawa put that rock there themselves. Bad break for Team Schwaller, who really successfully had made a double play.
Yeah, and they left the center line guard absolutely perfectly on line. Team Fujisawa, Satsuki Fujisawa, is now looking at the idea if they can get around the center line guard and hit their own yellow hard enough to bump that red right out of the house and sit 3. And then what would the consequences be in terms of their physical positioning and with their opponent coming down? So it's a big opportunity to try and figure out how to make the most of this situation.
Come to a decision of what they're going to do. Oh. Really good opportunity to choke off the scoring area here. You got 2 yellow rocks in the top 4. About to be 3.
So they're playing a low weight shot, a finesse draw, and actually just, I think, trying to make sure that they I guess, get in the way of opportunities for their opponent. I'm not sure that ended up where they wanted it, though.
I'm pretty sure that was a draw that came up light.
Yeah.
They did have a discussion about it, so maybe there was some communication that we didn't catch on to. I thought Satsuki's broom was right on the nose of the Yellowstone. But that's still a good result, Dave. It's in the way, like you say.
Well, the straight run back is now much more challenging. But I'm looking at the yellow rock in the top 8 foot, and thinking in terms of the angles, whether there's a chance for them to either bump it straight out and sit, or even use it as an angle and try to play a hit which removes both yellows. I'm not sure it's there, but at least it's exposed, so they can start looking at options. It looks as if they're talking about getting rid of this red guard. Wish we could hear them.
Yeah, she's selling whatever she's selling pretty hard.
That's right.
I think you got to peel something. It's early enough in the end that this can change around a lot. I don't see any real good opportunity to give yourself a comfortable situation where you know you're going to score.
Right.
And if you throw one into that 4-foot area, it better be a good one, because Team Fujisawa is going to lock off whatever angle you might have of getting another one in there pretty quick. So I think this is a single peel, just take off the top one. I suppose there's no harm in sending it back, trying to get 2 of them again. That's my opinion.
I think they're also looking at the idea of hitting the yellow that's just biting the top 4 foot on a slight angle with enough weight that they actually could remove 3 rocks, including their own red. But the thing is, they're shot right now, so I don't think they like the idea of sacrificing shot rock. But they would at least be 1 in the house, and that's all. So. Okay, the broom is now down on the center line.
Skip seems to have made her decision. It's up to the rest of them to stake down and throw the rock.
I'm not sure everybody's agreeing on what's going on, or even making sure they understand what's going on, but it appears that a shot's being made that is going to be removing at least 1 of the center line guards. Maybe the logic is, we tried this last time and it didn't work in our favor, so now maybe it will. Okay.
Gets the single peel. Fujisawa has to decide if they're going to try to steal or if they're really happy with the force. Because if they're happy with the force, almost nothing needs to change on that in-turn side. I'd be locking away the out-turn. But if they want to start this kind of procession of tapping that would be required if they wanted to steal a point, they got to keep piling them in there. And that looks like a broom to do that.
Yep, this is definitely a draw with a tiny bit more weight than the last time. And then the rock that came up a little short last time becomes a very valuable guard.
Pace of the game slowing down here in the 5th end. We thought that might happen. Been pretty quick first 4 ends.
Yep.
Teams are both sensing that they got to make some moves. Tied with hammers, Team Schwaller. Without Fujisawa.
Oh,
and so we do have a guard.
Yes, I was going to say we were wrong. This is definitely a guard, not a draw.
Not a great result. Doesn't get a ton of separation there.
Wow.
I think when you throw the double peel, you can get a little greedy, and yeah, as you see Xenia say, let's move 3 yellows with this shot. Why not?
Yep, a little bit off nose. We should be able to Make a lot of rocks go away. So she's asking Selena to really bring the heat here. I think we're going to see a very high-paced hit, peel weight hit.
It's a really big chance to move this 4-foot situation around. They've been waiting all end to do so.
Looks pretty good.
1-2. Rips the ones in the button area. Gotta call that a bit of a miss, Dave. I think she got that
so.
pretty thick.
And we've left two yellow rocks in the house, one behind cover, and a chance to draw for a second point under cover, and then the other one is still hanging around in the edge of the 12-foot. So this could end up being quite an interesting situation. Now, red, Team Schwaller, has hammer, so that's an advantage to be able to say, well, at least we have last rock. But right now, Team Fujisawa is in the driver's seat. Okay. Not a lot of ice if this is a draw around the guard.
No, it is not. This is the straighter side, though.
You're right. We've been fooled by the curl before, and we're going out along the side. We're close to the edge of the sheet.
Those brooms are tough to trust in the hack. When you know that everything else is curling and you've conditioned your release for that kind of thing, it's tough to trust a tight broom. But looks like Kitmami's got a pretty good one here.
Yeah, this looks great. Well managed. Top button. Very nice. Not quite fully undercover, but certainly very hard to access. So I think they're going to try and do a run back at the very least to get rid of this guard. They've got to remove some of the protection, and if they're lucky, they could maybe even remove more than one.
Gets the top guard, gets one in the rings, two in the ring. Very, very good shot. She had to make up for it somehow, and she delivers. It's always a good feeling as a thrower when you miss your first one and you can make good on the next one.
Now, that was a lovely shot. Very good result. Now, it does leave Team Fujisawa with the option of drawing underneath to lie 2, and will still make life difficult for Team Schwaller's interest in trying to score more than 1. But at the very least, that mass of scoring potential that was in the 4-foot is now gone. So we've really remedied a situation. So finding the right ice. There's 2 people holding the broom. Both of them seem dedicated to their spot. So looks like Kitmami, the vice, has won out and has put the broom down for the draw just behind one of the longer guards and hopefully hiding in the 4-foot.
Oh, sorry. Forgot to change cameras there. Got a lot going on here. It's Satsuki Fujisawa's first stone. They've had a steal brewing all end, or at least a force, and now they're going to keep that momentum rolling.
Well, they need to get by this guard. They need to get by this guard. Okay, they've succeeded. That was close. And ends up being quite a nice shot.
Well, after some struggles with draw weight earlier, that's 2 quite nicely made draws in a row. I know Satsuki would have liked that a few feet deeper. It is going to afford the opportunity for Schwaller to ignore it. They might just draw around either one of those guards their very own selves.
Yeah, I think they're saying to themselves that they can get enough of that yellow rock that Satsuki just threw to remove it and then play it essentially as a hit and roll. But they have to keep the weight down because it definitely has to curl enough to to get by the guard and catch enough of it to remove. So they'll have to just throw a much more controlled weight. The other odd debate, I guess, is going on, maybe about just whether they should draw. And it looks like they're electing just to draw. Bit of a risk. They need to make sure they're shot rock, but it could pay off with a well-thrown rock and a chance to score 2.
Yeah, I don't see any point in hitting or moving that yellow stone like Xenia was kind of first signaling.
It's not quite as deep in the house. It's not quite as hard to beat as it would have been had it been a little bit deeper. So that makes them confident, I think, that they can always draw if they need to.
So I can understand why they're taking this wide out turn. It's a little easier to get in the right spot on that high side of the guard, but we've just seen so much funniness with this kind of wide patch of ice, lots of rocks kind of falling away. So I'd be concerned that they're not going to get buried, but they'll give it a shot anyway. Xenia Schwaller's first of 2, trying to manufacture a skipper's deuce in the 5th end.
This looks incredibly wide.
A lot of room to curl yet.
More about weight than anything else. It needs to be shot rock as well.
And it is sailing. It's not going to be shot rock. It'll settle in for second. It does get buried behind the guard.
It did curl a lot in the end. Boy, there's a lot of options for Team Fujisawa now. They want to lie 2. Leave no double.
It's going to be pretty hard to chase that stone.
It's interesting that no team is considering going through the hole in the middle. Even if you were to throw the intern and draw through it and have it curl out underneath the guard with the just thrown red as a backing. But here we go. We'll see what they decide to do.
As long as you get it deeper than the 8 foot, you're not going to leave a double. So, yeah, I'm with you. That feels like the most obvious path to the spot.
Okay.
I guess they figure this way they might have some backing, but we've seen, unless the rock is slowing down, it's not going to curl. So if you're heavy, I would not count on resting on the red one at all.
Yeah, the line that they're choosing is very similar to what we just saw. So I guess in theory that is the right ice. They definitely don't need as much weight as Xenia just threw with her red. So we'll see how this comes up. Hopefully they'll put it in the hands of the sweepers. This is the kind of rock where you want to throw it just the right weight and let the sweepers put it in a perfect position.
Satsuki Fujisawa's last stone here in the 5th. And it's an important one. Don't want to leave any kind of shot for 2.
Now the curl is coming. They seem confident that the weight's all there, not necessary to sweep for weight. And in the end, it looks like they're using the backing. So now, yes, Team Fujisawa lies 2, and Team Schwaller has to essentially draw for a single. And yet again, coming around the outside.
Yeah, I mean, they've built a habit now. There must be something going on with the middle of the ice that they don't trust.
Well, they did throw a lot of high-speed shots, and I guess the lines were, well, seemed to be predictable. But maybe the draws through those paths are not as attractive. Here we go. Simple draw, needing about T-line weight. With backing, it's a nice bonus.
Last rock in this 5th end. It's another situation where the skip is forced to attempt a shot for one. Facing two Fujisawa counters way out in the weeds, she will send this draw. Line looks a little tighter than her last one, Dave.
And the weight, they're working a little bit just to make sure, but it would appear that they've got this under control. They need to just make sure
It's curl to get enough of the 8-foot.
Maybe it didn't quite.
It really slams on the brakes, and they just barely get it there for second shot.
You're absolutely right.
Steal of one for Satsuki Fujisawa. A little bit out of nowhere. After the end had taken a more open turn, neither's the Schwaller team facing a bit of a struggle after 5. They'll try again in the 6th with hammer.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
We come back.
Here we are. It's the 6th end, an all-important 6th end following a steal. It's a 2-1 lead for Fujisawa. We'll get that scoreboard updated in a second. One of 2 semifinals on the ice right now, Dave.
These two teams playing to see who's going to the finals later tonight. And now we look like we're just trading basic hits in the house with an attempt to stick around, force the opponent to deal with the rock that you leave.
Yeah, fairly surprised that. Well, no, here we go. We'll see a corner guard. It's just a delayed corner strategy from Team Schwaller. Fujisawa stone in the side of the 12-foot and a corner guard going up. That would indicate to me Schwaller is accepting that points are going to be scored this end. They'll go hard to make it 2 or 3 or more. Interested to see what Fujisawa will do here. Into the rings is the call. I thought maybe she might throw a guard, but up 1 point.
Yeah, top of the house.
Advantage.
Top of the house, so that it's a little bit easy, a little bit more difficult to use as a guard to come around, and presents all kinds of options moving forward. And also means that they'll be lying too, and that makes it a little harder to ignore.
Only disadvantage being it's going to be Team Schwaller with basically 6 rocks in a row with a kind of open playground in the house to do whatever they wish to attempt to create offense. They're not going to face a lot of danger from Team Fujisawa. That's the only kind of sacrifice of that call.
Mm-hmm. Exactly what was called. So at the very least, we're making the shot we wanted.
Team Fujisawa kind of seeming a little more in tune with draw weight than Team Schwaller at this point in the game.
So the corner guard went up. So the next step is to take advantage of it. And it would appear that we've managed to do just that, although the rock has not hidden itself very well.
No, it's going to make this hit and roll a lot easier.
Just playing halfway.
Hitting either of these red stones is a success, but you want to get the one in the rings. Lie 3. Create even more for Team Schwaller to clean up before they're ever able to use that corner guard. A really big advantage would be if you're able to hold your shooter in the 8-foot, out counting a potential draw that might come next. Team Schwaller. Yumi's going to pop up and sweep this one, sweeping her own stone. Must be washroom time for Fujisawa lead.
And this is not
They're going to get caught on a straight spot as well.
When I saw, it's interesting because when I saw Satsuki put the broom down, I was a little worried that it looked like it was an awful lot of ice. But then I said to myself, it's that side where it's going towards the wall and the carpet, and sometimes it's unpredictable curl. But it turned out that was a little bit too generous in terms of the ice. And in that situation, if you miss, it'd be better to clip the top guard and at least get rid of something. So that's a bit of a shame. So now we have a very big opportunity for Team Schwaller to take advantage of that.
Most definitely. It's a big turn in this end. And like I said, without a center guard, Team Fujisawa is going to be left chasing these 2 red stones for the rest of the end.
A little bit heavy, but
as long as it hangs on for, well, it's not going to be shot or second shot.
So it's
Fujisawa with shot 1. Interesting. They're not going to hit the open one. They will chase this more valuable stone along the wing.
They're trying the same shot again. It'll be interesting to see the difference in where she puts the broom. Yeah, so she's dropped about 6 inches off of the ice. That's going to make a big difference, I think.
It's Kitmami throwing it as well, new thrower. And you can see Kitmami discussing with Satsuki why that last shot missed. So both of them very familiar with the kind of new approach they'll have to take. Will tick the top one, bumps their own yellow, and they get very fortunate.
Wow.
Oh, how lucky is that?
Amazing. So the guard is gone, which means that the red in the top 12 is totally exposed. And the yellow Fujisawa rocks are now first and second, I believe. Looking from above, I may be wrong. Shot and third shot.
Really got lucky with that one, Dave. That was pretty close to leaving a shot to lie 3 for Team Schwaller.
Okay. So Team Schwaller is appearing to come down to the rock that ended up in the back of the 8-foot, I guess, to bump and sit and be second. No, it will be shot rock if she puts it right there. Yeah.
Red will be shot 2 by the end of this stone if they complete it well. And This is still a very good scenario for Team Schwaller. No center guards, not a lot of real dangerous stones from Fujisawa. They have 4 rocks in a row here to try and manufacture something.
Yeah, so giving up a steal, really important and helpful to score in 6, force in 7, and then try and come home with the hammer in 8. And this rock has not gone really far enough, I think, actually. Team Fujisawa is still, with the yellow rocks, is still shot.
Struggling with draw weight for sure as Team Schwaller. The sweepers and the throwers not quite understanding what they need. Light was not the miss there, Dave. It would be really forgivable to be a little heavy and tap that, as long as you're shot at the end of the rock.
Absolutely. So now we're playing a hit and roll.
Hit and roll attempt number 3 down this exact same spot.
I'm going to say, and the guard is now gone, so we should be able to make contact with the target rock. The question will be, will they roll the right amount? So, and appears that they've tightened up the ice nicely, because they're definitely sweeping this a lot more, and in fact over curled. But yellow is in a commanding position right now.
You know what, Dave? At this point in the game, the 6th end, I think I'm willing to say this just hasn't been that well played of a game. Both teams haven't really dialed into the sheet the way they need to. Missing a lot of rocks on the wrong side that they're trying to hit them. Draws kind of missing by multiple zones.
Yep.
It's definitely not the strongest performance from either team, and it's interesting how they're both kind of letting each other off the hook.
Yeah, there's definitely been some struggles with putting the broom in the right place, and then having the weight be the right weight to allow the curl that they need for the shot based on where it's set. So the combination, the old combination of, hit the broom with the right weight, we should be fine. We're missing on one or the other a lot of the time. You're absolutely right. Not by a lot, but by enough that it's making the shots just miss a little bit on one side or the other, or over curl, or be a little heavy. You're absolutely right. So we're playing a simple hit and roll here.
Well, this is a big weight double. They're hoping to move 3 yellows with this shot. It's a very, very aggressive call. Gets 1, 2. Doesn't save the shooter, unfortunately. That's the most important part.
Well, things are a lot better.
Just got that thin, Dave. Really thin. Needed it thicker to stick the red shooter on the wing. That was the more important aspect of that. Removing the 2 yellows was more of a formality. Had to get that rock in a place where it can count later in the end.
Yeah. The interesting situation, though, is that they've given the Fujisawa team a chance to figure out what to do in order to generate, I guess probably to generate a force. And they're looking at it with trying to decide where's the best place to put this, and they're having trouble deciding. There's a bit of a debate going on.
Well, I think you want to hit that redstone. I mean, you could split the rings right now and lie 2. It's just a little risky. So if you're going to hit the redstone, Dave, you got 2 options. You could basically just peel it out, hitting it high side, or you could get a little greedy and try to punch it through the hole, roll to the opposite wing, and lie 3. That'd be a really nice result if they're able to get there.
Yeah, in terms of the way that they've been struggling to manage lines, I don't know if they're going to try the precision that they would need. But I mean, it's ideal, the shot you described, to punch it through the hole, basically take out 2 reds, and then sit in the house lying 3. It appears that they are trying the exact shot you said. So let's have a look.
I think this is a lot of weight. I bet they're trying to hit it on the high side. Yep. And it worked out perfectly for them.
Wow.
I think they got a little lucky. I don't think clipping that yellow stone was part of the plan. So a big sweep, keeps it on the high side. Now, line 3 is Team Fujisawa. And this is looking more and more like a force.
A nice little spot for Team Schwaller to draw. Sort of
absolutely,
tuck themselves
if they
in.
Make this. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just saying that tuck themselves in to that little nest of yellow rocks.
Now, if they make this perfectly, Fujisawa will have a few options. You could always draw down to it, follow it down. If it's perfectly frozen, you could maybe play a kind of blast on your outside yellow and knock it out that way. But, you know, an opportunity for a skipper's deuce here for Team Schwaller. Is she going to finally nail down her draw weight? Are the sweepers going to finally properly manage the stone to where it needs to be? Not trying to take anything away from these teams. They've fought hard to get to this semifinal. But definitely, they haven't gotten to their top performance zone yet. We'll see if they can find it here in the all-important 6th end. Down one with hammer.
Absolutely. First of 2 skip rocks. And they need a very, very well-placed draw to ultimately give themselves a chance to score 2. Now the sweepers are not at all worried about the weight. And look at the curl. Here it comes. Well,
chips off just a little bit. It was really close, but those ones are frustrating. You know it's heavy. Not much you can do about it.
So they've left it open, and the question that they're asking the Fujisawa team is simply, what kind of weight are we going to throw? And it appears that they don't care whether their shooter sticks around. They simply need to remove the red. And
so the shooter's only going to act as backing.
I
think it's advantageous to let this roll out.
Absolutely.
Another big weight shot from Satsuki Fujisawa. She has been hitting a lot this game. Easy clean's going to do the trick. Keeps 3 yellows in the rings. And after all that, Team Schwaller got the situations they were looking for, unable to keep their rocks in good spots and take advantage. In the 6th end, it will be a draw for 1, and very interesting. She's gonna throw the exact same line. I almost think this speaks to the lack of confidence in what the ice is doing. I mean, you think you'd want to give yourself just a path to the button. You don't really have backing on this line, Dave.
No, I mean, technically you have, if you go around the first one, you get backing behind it, but this is basically just a straight T-line draw. And I guess you can throw it over where the other rocks are just as an extra bonus. And there's a way you might need to use a little tick or rub. I think we're in good shape. Just about a question of the confidence of the thrower. In theory, a basic draw to the T line shouldn't be an extra difficult request. But this has been a tough sheet. Look at this. They've been struggling.
A big sweep. I think it just barely gets it there, Dave.
Oh, that last little twist. I don't know.
No, you're right. All that rotation. I think it's between the yellow on the T line and that top red.
I like the look of both yellows. If you're going to measure, I would leave them all.
And that's what Shinami Yoshida will do. The sweepers were on that pretty well out of her hand. Did as much as they could with it.
And that was if you remember, I don't know if we were going the same way, or an earlier end where they were avoiding throwing a draw down the middle that would cross the central line. They were coming around the outside. And that may be definitely a symptom of the issue they have with the ice. This is so nice to see when you're used to seeing high-level curling and there's an umpire coming out with the measure, but this is the curlers doing it themselves. So.
Oh, and as you know, the curlers much prefer to do it themselves.
Yeah, I just think it's great when you see them coming out, because most curling at this level, there's an umpire, and here we go.
Okay, that's moving. I'm trying to get greedy with my cameras here, see if we can't catch it. Oh, that's yellow for sure. I think it's 2 yellows.
No, definitely she pointed at 1. I don't know if it's 2.
Well, I was completely wrong. It was the one on the T line that wasn't shot over the red. That does look like a steal of one for Fujisawa. It's a big point in the 6th end. Tough fight for Team Schwaller continues with hammer in the 7th.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's gonna make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Welcome back to Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Team Fujisawa finding the draw weight a little better than Team Schwaller. Open draw to bite the 8-foot, comes up a little short. They could have given up a steal of 3, ends up being a steal of 1, Dave.
Yes, it turned out to be 1. We watched the measure and we weren't 100% sure whether it was 1 or 2. And it turns out, as we see the scoreboard now very clearly, it was 1 point. Interesting, that shifts the hammer into a very favorable place for Team Fujisawa, because if they can force 1 here and then take the hammer home in 8, that's a very, very handy thing. So Schwaller had the hammer in 6, but unfortunately didn't score. So their option to bring the hammer in the even ends was lost with that shot. And we're playing, it looks like, still quite a bit of offense here. There's a lot of work trying to basically put pressure. And I'm a little surprised that we're not trying to keep things a little simpler, because now there's a 2-point lead. However, this has been a really tricky game where they've been playing around the center line a lot. So it's interesting to see how they're going to develop their strategy.
Yeah, I mean, in terms for Team Fujisawa, in these first few rocks in the free guard zone, all you can really do is put them on the center line in the top of the house. Not much to it.
Yeah.
So this is a double corner guard strategy for Team Schwaller. You can see on the overhead there. Get a better view. Xenia holding her broom out into the guard zone, so that's where she wants this stone. And as much as we say the draw weight has been a struggle for a lot of Team Schwaller, this lead has been doing a very good job. There's quite a few ends. She's put both her rocks in the perfect spot.
Yep, I would agree with you. The lead and the vice are both named Selena, so you can easily say Selena's playing well, then you're fine. But yeah, the weight on those shots is critical, and to have, when you're trying to put a double guard in, it's an even harder task for the leads, because you have to decide, okay, which one's going to be short and which one's going to be long. You can't just have a default middle weight. You've got to have one longer and one shorter. So got to be impressed when they manage to do that. This one, in this case, there was already a short guard. I better say it the other way. There was already a long guard, and they needed to put one short or closer to the house, which she did very, very well. Now this was, I think, supposed to be a draw.
It is, and in my opinion, that's a massive miss. You've given a corner guard to the opponent. You haven't stacked the top of the rings like you wanted to. It's a big gift for Team Schwaller.
And Xenia is trying to decide how to get underneath the guard. She needs to come in the house now, whether she's going to hit and roll or she's going to just draw. She's going to hit and roll. So this will have to be really precise because we definitely need to make sure that this rock is hidden, or at least hidden enough that it presents trouble for Team Fujisawa. Here it comes.
Oh, apologies, fans. Forgot to switch the camera there. That'll happen. Long day, lots of streaming, long weekend. It's been it's going to be 5 straight days of morning to evening curling here in Swift Current. Having some of the best men's and women's teams in the world, only 5 sheets to play on. It's been a long tournament.
Yeah, Xenia's team, Team Schwaller there with the Red Rocks, definitely needed to keep their shooter around, hopefully as shot. It rolled out, and so this is offering an opportunity for Team Fujisawa to come down and start to peel guards, which they'll do just to make sure they clean up and keep things as simple as possible.
That's the advantage of a 2-point lead, right? You can play a strategy that's okay with giving up 2, and part of that strategy is eliminating Red Rocks as you see them, 1 at a time. And the math works out with that if everybody makes their shots and you just remove 1 redstone at a time, it'll be a shot for 2. Team Schwaller to end this 7th end. But of course, that requires Team Schwaller to make all of their shots, which, as we've seen, they have not been doing. Been a while since I checked the chat, but looks like we got 1,800 or 2,000 people watching with us right now. Wow, thank you so much for supporting Curling Stadium, following your favorite teams on YouTube. We really, really appreciate the engagement, liking and subscribing to the page. That shows YouTube that people have an appetite for live curling. Helps us out with the advertising as well. So as much clicks as you can possibly give us, we really appreciate them. And even further, thanks again for chiming in on the chat and having fun in there. That's the whole point of live streaming is to have fun and be engaging, and we always appreciate when you do that.
Absolutely. I mean, thank you to the community. This is one of the great things about our sport is community. We often brag about how curling culture is just so warm and people enjoy basically spending time together and enjoying their sport as a group. And this is a great example of that. 2,000 people. Fantastic. So a nice peel, but we still have a Red Rock in the house now, so I guess Xenia's got to try and split the house to try and get herself a chance to score 2.
Yeah, she could throw another guard if she wanted to, but advancing the end isn't really in favor of Team Schwaller. I think it's a good move to split the rings right now, start taking advantage of this yellow corner-ish guard that Fujisawa has given you.
But based on where her broom is, she's either drawing through the port between the two stones. I think that's what she's doing. Or she's trying to hit and roll. But no, she's just throwing a draw right through the gap. Amazing call.
That's the kind of most advantageous place they can be, I would think.
Wow. Great shot.
It's a big shot at a big time for Gaffner. For a team that's been struggling, those ones go a long way.
Well, not much question about which shot to hit.
It definitely makes things interesting, Dave, because once you hit this open one and Team Schwaller puts another rock behind that yellow guard, then you're looking at a situation where you're going to have to make a difficult shot, a run back, or it might even be time for a draw yourself.
First things first. Let's get rid of this rock, and even if we roll out, then see what our opponent leaves us.
Be really nice to roll in and get a good positioning. Going to stay on the wing. Not the best because that means red is shot underneath the guard. And Team Schwaller can safely ignore this Yellowstone and pursue their own kind of their own setup.
Yep. The only thing is that they can't throw the same shot they just threw and have it lie too. I don't think. I think they have to find another way into the house to lie too. I think they would dearly love to just come down and do the exact same shot, but I don't think that works. I mean, technically it could if they throw exactly the right line, but they have to be sure. Now they're looking at hitting and rolling, which is probably one of the easier ways to do it. A lot of uncertainty, as we've seen, Rory, with so many shots that have kind of not quite worked in this game. And here they are debating, what are we going to do and what weight are we going to throw in order to do something relatively straightforward. Everybody knows what they want, but the question of how are we going to get there seems to be a real puzzle here. The whole team's in on the discussion. Wondering what their opponent will do. It's the next part of the chat. If we do this, what will they do?
An element of this as well that you mentioned that I hadn't really processed is the championship final for this women's side. We'll be hitting the ice at 9 p.m. local time. That's quite late at night to be playing a championship final. So as taxing as this game has been, the winner of this game is going to have to eat a quick sandwich and get right back on there. So I can see Eureka Yoshida just kind of sipping a coffee behind the bench. They got to keep their energy up.
Well,
stay focused.
and it will be the third game today. Which
pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, just playing 3 games in one day by itself is a tough ask for any curling team. So you can see how
choose to bump this one back. Ends up being a pretty good result. Dead flat. Oh, was there an infraction? I'm not so sure what happened there. There was a bit of a discussion.
No, I think we're fine.
I think it was just a little bit of hair on the ice.
Okay. It's funny sometimes as we look down the ice, both teams are wearing uniforms that have a lot of blue. And the odd time I look and see one blue uniform and I realize, oh no, that's not the same team that just threw. It's tricky. It's a different shade of blue. I admit that, but I like it better when both teams have completely different color sets, so it's easier for the poor eyes of the commentator.
Absolutely, yeah. Blue, without a doubt, the most common color of the jackets. I guess black might be up there as well. But
well, and the Japanese teams, when they compete nationally, are always wearing white and red. So that's the other thing that's tricky for me. I'm going, where's the white and red team?
So I did go back in the stream on YouTube, and I just saw what happened there as they're having a discussion. It was a little piece of the jacket of Xenia Schwaller that fell out onto the ice.
Oh. All right, we're looking for a hit and roll. And we got a hit and roll, but didn't quite roll enough. But not a bad shot. Forcing Team Schwaller to deal with the rock because it is shot rock.
I think Team Fujisawa was just happy there was a red one available to hit. That's quite a few hits in a row for Satsuki, and let's keep our eye on that in the 8th end. If she has to make a pressure draw, it's been quite a while since she's thrown one.
You're right. She hasn't thrown many shots with less than board weight for the entire game. Alrighty. First of 2 for skip Satsuki Fujisawa.
Oh, Schwaller in the hack.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. We've just seen Satsuki Fujisawa, and now
we knew what you meant.
We're all set.
Really important to get your shot rock in a place that's going to be difficult to chase.
Yep.
Just really easy weight here. Very strong extension on this Schwaller team. They all seem to throw a similar way. This is where we've seen some rocks under curl, David. We'll see if they can manage the line.
Well, they're making sure we're by the guard. It looks as if they're playing to roll it away because they weren't going to get it underneath. And that is a pretty good shot because both reds now are counting. And
It's a
almost
shot
impossible to double.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shot that secures your 2 points. It's going to be tougher to score 3, but maybe if you rolled underneath, forced Fujisawa to a short run back. But I don't think that risk is worth the reward. They're guaranteeing themselves a shot at 2 by leaving this open hit for Fuji.
So hit, preferably hit and roll somewhere challenging. But first priority is to make sure that the red is taken care of. Yet again, she's throwing a hit weight shot. No draws in a while for skip Satsuki Fujisawa. Okay, so giving an opportunity for the Swiss team to basically throw a draw for 2.
And that was their established strategy from the beginning of this end. We could see in the way that they were calling this end, it was a safe end for Team Fujisawa, knowing that hammer advantage in the last end is the most important thing, allowing Team Schwaller to work their way to a shot for 2 points. Should be a thrilling finish, but first, Xenia Schwaller's got to do something that she's struggled with all game, which is hit the 8-foot.
Yeah, just throw a simple draw.
Not messing around with any funny paths this time. This is the draw to the button line. Sweepers are on it right away again. Her misses have been light so far on the draw. Sweepers want to make sure of this one. That is really putting on the brakes, Dave.
I think we'll be all right.
And they get it there. Big sweep from the front end of Team Schwaller. It's 2 points. And perhaps appropriately, we have a tie game scenario. Fujisawa has fought hammer back to their favor after starting without it. That's what it's all coming down to of this semifinal. 8th end when we return.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Sasktel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? Sasktel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, here we go. 8th end action. It's the women's semifinal of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. It's been a fantastic week of curling. These ladies got started on Thursday And here we are on Sunday, 4 days later.
It has been an amazing series. Lots and lots of great play with an incredible group of teams. So the great thing for all of these teams, the level of competition they've had this event has just been superb. They were down to 4 teams. This is a semifinal, and we are down to the last end with a tie game.
Just want to express my gratitude to our 2,000 concurrent viewers right now. I know a lot of people will watch the replay as well. We appreciate you so much tuning in, supporting Curling Stadium. And I hope everyone knows at this point, this is a love project, a passion project. We are not a big media company trying to make a bunch of money. Dave and I are doing this because we love it. And, we've got Connor Sims as well, Kaylee on production, James Gordon, one of the founders of Curling Stadium, Jerry Gertz, managing all these games, John Benton performing technical fixes, Cameron Rittenauer hitting the books behind the scenes. Our whole Curling Stadium crew really thanks you for tuning in, telling your family and friends about Curling Stadium, and tuning in every weekend with us. It's very appreciated, and I hope all of you fans feel proud because you've helped build this fantastic system where we could follow our favorite curling teams all season long.
It's been amazing. I mean, for this season, I just noticed a complete difference in terms of what we were able to see. There's commentary, people joining. In fact, for me, this is the first season I've been involved and loving every minute of it. I don't always have enough time in my schedule to do all the games I like, but it's been a pleasure, and great to see the fans and the numbers picking up every single weekend. It's great.
No, we certainly thank you for your time and your insight, Dave. It's the technology has gotten so incredible. I'm in Regina, Saskatchewan myself. All of us can be in different locations and pitch into this wonderful project.
That's right. Yeah. When Jerry first started asking about having people come in and help, I said, well, what are we going to do? Are we all going to travel to all these events? And he said, no. We can be pretty much wherever you want as long as you have good Wi-Fi. And here we are.
All right, it's game on. We got 2 center guards for Team Schwaller and a fairly good rock in the forefoot. So first 3 shots at the end when you're trying to steal are so important. Have to take advantage of that free guard zone. Now it's peeling time, and you've got a very dangerous thrower in Yumi Suzuki. Trying to clean up 2 guards in 1 shot. Gets the top, stuffs it. Even removes their own stone in the forefoot. That is not what they were looking for. Definite advantage Schwaller early on here in the 8th.
Absolutely. So Xenia's team now, if they can come down and draw right onto the face of the rock they have already behind cover, they'll make things very, very difficult. Obviously, Team Fujisawa has to get rid of these guards. It's going to take them at least 1 more rock to do that. In the meantime, Team Schwaller can just basically try and occupy the coveted space of the forefoot and see if they can manage to sneak away with a steal.
Oh, once again, I forget to switch the camera. Sorry, guys. I'm doing a lot over here. But I'll let you know it was a really clean delivery. So another very good draw into the top 8, and this is getting quite dangerous for Team Fujisawa. That intern draw is still available, but a rock nearly in the full forefoot and kind of protector in the top 8 is going to make those stones really tough to remove.
Team Schwaller threw a lovely rock there. It wasn't perfect, but it's doing the job. They're lying 2 behind cover in the center. So it's very important now to clean things up and open up the front. And if they can, we should be okay. Team Fujisawa should survive, but they need to. That's a helpful rock. Not perfect, but helpful.
Jeez, a missed sweep. They were on that basically the entire way down, and it ended up under curling, Dave, and jammed. So 2 shots in a row from Yumi Suzuki. Fails to get rid of the junk up front. And so once again, Team Schwaller is going to have an opportunity to double guard 2 very good stones in the top of the house.
Interestingly, she's coming with the out turn. She wants to cross the face of this yellow rock and sort of sit centerline side. And that's interesting. I think they're trying to stagger them so that they're not perfectly lined up, but I would have thought she would come the other way. lots of weight, and this is just going to try to sort of bump, and that is doing a very nice job getting in the way. Oh,
Yeah, I would argue, Dave, that those are too close together.
yeah, well, and it just spun at the end. I was thinking to myself, it's going to be hard, but you're right. You're right now. They're very, very vulnerable now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just kind of trying to discuss what's going to happen to that red. I think it deflects over top, goes across the center line, doesn't contact anything in the rings, but Team Fujisawa very happy with the opportunity to get rid of 2 stones. That's the main thing here.
Yep.
And it's looking more and more. I've been saying it for a few ends now, Dave. Fujisawa has not drawn. We'd have to go back in the stream to find her last draw. I can't even remember when it was.
You're absolutely
so it's
right.
going to be a challenging task for Satsuki at the end here. I think she's going to have to draw the forfeit for the win. Kitmami Yoshida, her first stone, hoping to get rid of 2 guards. And she'll do just that. It does cruise through the rings. Got that a little thinner than they wanted, but luckily the angles were such that it's pretty easy to make those 2 rocks go.
Mm-hmm. So now we'll just basically be going guard, peel, until the very last rock.
We may see Xenia Schwaller throw one into the forefoot on her last stone, Dave. Just try to put a perfect stone so Fuji will have to draw around it. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the next 2 rocks from this one and the next one almost guaranteed to be guards.
Well, or the other thing is that if the guard curls so that the line is not ideal, it's possible to throw a high weight peel which runs back into the house and removes things, or moves at least some of the rocks in the house. I think they're looking at that right now. Is it possible to hit this high guard on the right angle where the shooter will roll away from center, but they can also get rid of some of the red? Or, if they want, they could come around the guard and get rid of the rocks in the house.
The guard is a little higher than perfect, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's room there to get around it and kind of tap back almost anything. So if you have a chance to get rid of these 2 reds, I think you take it. The problem is the double is nearly on the nose, and I just don't know if there's going to be enough curl to get rid of both these reds. And here's the big risk, Dave. I don't think removing 1 red is very good. It's leaving that red in the forefoot and allowing Schwaller to double guard it is much worse than the situation you're looking at right now. So this is kind of must make in my mind. You got to move 2 reds here.
Well, they're definitely very, very boldly attacking. They're going by the guard, and this is a little wider than they want. I think only 1 red's going to go.
I don't think that's a very good result, Dave.
I think it presents a really big opportunity for Team Schwaller now. If they can guard in a way that preserves their red in the forefoot and makes it hard to access, you're right. I think we're going to force a draw.
I think Satsuki's got to have it in her mind that she's throwing an in-turn draw to win the game. That's her most likely shot, and the team's going to have to prepare for that.
Yep.
Xenia is accepting that this red stone is going to be as close as they're going to get. So I think this is a straight guard.
Yep.
There might be a bit of a temptation to tap it forward and kind of Christmas tree the stones, but geez, the risk of leaving a double is just too high.
Yeah, she has to be careful where this rock goes, and if she over curls or anything funny happens and she leaves the rock in the house exposed, it could be a really bad result. So opportunity here just has to be perfectly crafted. Sweepers are worried about weight.
Once again, Dave, she's been light all game long. But this is going about where they tap their broom.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a bit of an overcurl. But I think that does the trick, doesn't it?
I think you're right. Yep.
Choosing to make the draw right now is Team Fujisawa. And, you know, there's no real way to miss this, Dave. You just got to put it right on the lid. It's a big shot. The whole game's been boiling down to these moments. It's a big reward, a spot in the final at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Very experienced Japanese team. I'm sure there's been lots of communication between sweepers and thrower. Even though we haven't seen Satsuki throw a draw in a long time, I think they've exchanged the right information, given her the tools to make this one.
They're very confident in the line. We just have to make sure we get the weight right. Honestly, I think that's the biggest challenge.
Sweepers on this right away.
Loads of room.
A long way to move as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's got a mile to curl. You could see her kind of push outwards with her final motion. Not good enough, Dave. It's going to be in her way.
So what does Team Schwaller do?
I think you know that the outturn is fairly secured. It's going to be really tough to beat that red stone with an outturn draw. I think you take away this intern.
You know, take away the tap. Could they bump their own yellow back, I suppose? You guard.
Kind of goes back to Schwaller's first one, the guard that just barely overcurled. There is a kind of chip shot to get rid of that red. You can see about 1.5 inches of it, and you'll get about another inch of curl with hack weight coming around the guard. So there probably is an outturn pick type shot. It's very difficult, of course, but it is there. But in this situation right now, the best you can do is take away her easiest shot. So what is Satsuki's easiest shot? I think it's that tap. Might even be a hole to make a pure draw intern side. Oh, I bet that overcurls and comes into the red if you ride that path.
Wow. This is a very interesting situation. No easy answers.
Another option is to be aggressive and try to draw one in there yourself. Just the chance that you chip off the yellow or make Satsuki's next shot easier is pretty high. So, Dave, we can see them signaling low guard, take away the tap. That seems to be the decision.
That's not a bad choice. And if you could have it curl in enough that it sort of also helps to block any path that might be there into the forefoot through that gap, I think that's not a bad idea. And then she has no choice but to try and find a way to get rid of the red. I don't think there's much else that she can do.
Trying to lock away the intern. It's been a kind of back and forth game. Mistakes have been made for Team Schwaller, bouncing back, understanding the situation, playing a very good 8th end, trying to steal the win here in Swift Current. This rock is nearly touching the boards. Very wide. It's got a long way to curl, Dave.
Well, it's actually... No, I was
in terms of guarding the tap,
yeah,
I think it's in the way.
It's just curled enough that I think you're right. Unless you go, the red. Oh, I think she's just going to throw the draw. I think she's going to try to go right through the gap into the forefoot.
I think on this one, Dave, you'll have to throw at least T-line weight, maybe even back button, back 4 weight, just to keep it straight enough through that hole. That it gets by that red in the top of the forefoot, and throwing enough weight that if you chisel the red, you're still going to roll in for shot rocks. Very, very challenging last rock. This is not what they imagined when they started this 8th end with hammer. Definitely not what they were hoping for when they played a fairly open 7th end, allowing Team Schwaller to score 2 and tie the game. So coming down to this, Satsuki Fujisawa. She did get to practice this path on the shot before, even though she's a little bit wide. This will be a narrower line.
Yep, it's a makeable shot. It's definitely one of those ones which will require an absolutely perfect combination of weight and line, but it's there.
All right, curling fans, this is why we watch the game, is for shots like this. All the pressure on Satsuki Fujisawa. A 2-hour-long battle with Team Schwaller is about to come to an end. Someone will be advancing to the final of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown.
Well, I think the line looks excellent. It's all about
a little
the
bit
weight.
wide, I think. They need this to curl. It can't collide with their own yellow in the top of the rings.
You're right.
There it goes. Now, is the weight good? They'll get through the hole. It's cruising. Will it slow down?
My goodness.
I think it just barely goes through the forefoot. It is. Red shot 1, and what an exciting finish here. A great run from Team Fujisawa. They just could not manage this 8th end, and Team Schwaller steals the victory, I would say, in more ways than one, Dave.
Wow, that's just amazing. I actually thought that was a superb shot. The fact that it didn't stop, obviously it meant it was just a little too heavy, but my goodness, the fact that she managed to draw right through that relatively small port and almost make a perfect shot. But congratulations to Team Schwaller on a real good battle. I'm going to be bold and say that they're going to have to tighten up a little bit when it comes to some of the shots when they face the final. However, good team, good game. It's entertaining to see just exactly how they managed each of these shots during the game today. So well done, both teams, and congratulations to Team Schwaller.
I would absolutely agree with you, Dave. They'll have to tighten up for the final, and they won't have much time to do it.
No.
Scheduled to hit the ice in less than an hour here in Swift Current. We will have all that coverage for you. Thank you so much to our Japanese audience for tuning in and supporting Curling Stadium. We love you guys. My name is Rory McCusker. For David Wills, and all of us here at Curling Stadium, thank you very much, and we'll catch you later for the women's final.
Take care. Have a good night.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game.